Today's video, we're going to be sharing with you 5 van build mistakes first-time van builders make so that you can avoid them, so that you can save yourself time, money, and lots of headaches, because van building can be very frustrating. The first big mistake is rushing the process. Van builds are complex and overwhelming, especially if it's your first one. So take time up front planning your layout. We actually have lots of videos about planning your layout and the most important steps to do up front, because if you just start doing stuff right away, you're probably gonna make a lot of mistakes that are gonna cost you even more time and money, because you're gonna have to redo them down the line.
So mistake number 2 is cutting unnecessary holes in the outside of your van, or even worse, messing up placement of your vent fan or your AC unit. It is very, very nerve-wracking to buy a brand new van or even a used van that you've put a lot of money into purchasing and then take a jigsaw and a drill and start cutting holes in the outside of this thing. So make sure that you really have your layout planned and set before you start cutting holes in the outside. And another tip I would give you that goes along with this is don't install your glue-in windows yourself. Have a company like Fast Glass that does window installations do them for you. They only charge like $100 a window, and it will also cover it from leaks for 5 years. That's a pretty cool warranty. One big part of understanding your layout before you start cutting holes into it is also in relation to the placement of the vent fan with what's going to be underneath it. So in this layout, for example, which is our standard beach house layout, we are going to have a wet bath basically in this space. So because that wet bath comes so far to the middle of the van, we've actually offset the vent fan slightly to the passenger side of the vehicle, so that we don't have any issues with trimming this out and also trimming the top and the front of the bathroom out. So again, really think about all aspects of your layout. I know that you watch Instagram and you see right away, I got my brand new van, I'm gonna cut in my vent fan, look at me on top of my van. That's really cool, but take your time before you get up there and film those Instagram videos.
Big mistake number 3 is not knowing what components can actually fit in the space that you're working with. Everything in van building is a game of inches, and it really depends on your overall floor plan and length of your van to be able to figure out what you can fit inside. But if you know you want a really big fridge, here we're doing a 130-liter fridge, we had to put that on the driver's side because the depth of it is too big to fit in our kitchen, which is gonna go right here. Our kitchens, we keep a little bit more narrow because we have the bathroom right behind me, so that you can keep that walkway open. So these are all factors you have to think about when designing and planning your layout. And sometimes you might want a 130-liter fridge, but you can't fit it in your van. So you really have to play that game of inches in your own space and figure out what's gonna work and not just what your dream wish list is, because it might not actually be functional.
Mistake number 4 is cutting things square. 90 degrees does not happen a lot inside of a van. So if you look at this rear wall here, you can see we're going to be putting an upper cabinet that's going to run from the back all the way to the floor to ceiling cabinet that we have. And this is not 90 degrees. The van curves up towards the top, it flares in the middle, and it comes back down again as we reach the floor. So depending on the van you're building in, highly recommend investing in an angle finder and understanding what angles you're going to be using in the van, checking angles before you start cutting things, and having some nice scrap pieces that you can use to make test cuts. For example, if we were putting this piece of shiplap up and this was your first time, you might not know that this is about a 4-degree cut with a 15-degree back cut as well. So sometimes it's 2 angles that you've got to do. Mind blown, but that's part of van building. So take your time, cut test pieces, hold them in place. Don't just think you can make one cut and get your final cut and nail the piece in, because that's how you end up with a van that looks a little special.
Big mistake number 5 is not taking the time to properly finish your materials. Number 1, you want to use high quality materials, but the second part to that is that you want to take your time to sand, paint, sand in between, clear coat, paint, sand, whatever you're doing, and take time finishing it properly so it has that nice, clean, smooth to the touch finish, so that if you ever want to sell your van down the line, it looks really good and not super rough like some of the vans that we've seen. Right, Beach?
I'd say.
Speaking of finishing, we are edge banding this white oak right now. We love using white oak in our van builds. And how's it going? Good?
Going great.
See, Beach takes his time here, iron and all.
Oh, yeah. Every material is different. Every material needs, you to be mindful in a different kind of way. And so take care to know your materials, practice on many different things before you actually practice on your van itself, and you'll come out with a really nice looking product.
Beach could start his own YouTube channel. So hopefully these tips help you with your own van conversion so that you have a beautiful finished product in the end. If you like this, click the thumbs up, leave us any comments down below, and we'll see you guys next time.
Good.